What do you want to do? Build a 7-figure coaching business? It's not hard. Have a great offer, put in a great funnel, send some traffic to it, have a salesman close it. Like, it's not that complicated. It's really not.
That's Akbar Sheikh, a 7-figure entrepreneur and coach who's built multiple businesses online so he can make more to give more.
The people who win are the ones who just consistently do the actions that are needed every day.
In this episode, we break down Akbar's origin story.
I went through a really rough time. I was pretty much homeless, fat, broke, lost, depressed, divorced. I mean, everything you could think of.
The single line of thought that changed everything for him.
It had this moment of clarity where I'm like, wait a minute. If they can do it, I can do it. That means the system works. That means that I just have to make it work. That means, okay, I'm going to make this work or die trying.
The skills that will take you to 7 figures.
You need to understand that success loves speed. And I think that you need to develop quick decision-making, logical thinking, courage, being positive.
And a deep conversation of the spiritual tests we face in this lifetime.
Russell Brunson went on film and said that he's never met anyone who cares less about money than me. That's not really like my test, right? I think my test is probably my energy. Are you actually going out and you're helping people with your hands?
Akbar, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about where it is that you came from and the background of how you got into business.
Well, good God. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, about 9 generations deep. It's, there's a shirt. One of my favorite shirts is, I think my wife bought it for me, is a Nike shirt, although I don't really wear I don't wear like big logos. I think that's stupid, saying I'm paying you to advertise for you. But this is one of the rare shirts I have that has a logo on it. And it is Nike and it says, built, not born. And that was a classic discussion we had in college. It was like, hey, are you born an entrepreneur or like, can you become one? I don't. I personally think I personally think you're either born, I think you're born one or you're not, personally. That's just my opinion. I don't have any data. I don't have any science. I don't have any studies. I don't have anything. I'm telling you how my heart feels, and that's what it is. So I come from that world. How did I bump into internet marketing? That was just, man, trial and error. I had it, everyone has a God-given gift. Even as a kid, my dad would be surprised. I'd be driving with him. And as a kid, like I'd be driving down the highway and see a billboard and I would remark on the marketing psychology of it. I remember my dad looked over at me like, huh? Like this kid's talking about like, deep sales psychology of a billboard. Like that's crazy. I mean, but that's no credit to me. That's just what my given talent is. It took a while. I bumped into it. Believe me, I went through a really rough time. My good God, I was pretty much homeless, fat, broke, lost, depressed, divorced. I mean, everything you could think of. And I was on Craigslist for some reason looking for opportunity. And I bumped into like this network marketing MLM kind of thing. And I was like, I know why, like it says join today. I know why that lady's smiling. I know why these letters are big. It's like, it all clicked to me. I felt like Neo from the Matrix. It was crazy. I was just like, whoa, you know what I mean? And I was like, this is so cheesy and so stupid, but like fascinating. And so I went down that rabbit hole, long story short, and I made no money. I was totally broke. I was about to give up again for like the 10th business in a row. And the moment I became a millionaire, I'll never forget, I was totally broke. It's when I looked at everyone and we did our weekly meeting. I made 2,000 this week. I made 3,000 this week. I made 5,000. And I'm just like, well, these guys are idiots. And I'm like, wait a minute. And then I just had this moment of clarity. I'm like, and I'm being funny. I didn't say they're idiots, but I was just like, the truth is they're just regular people. There's nothing, they're not geniuses, nothing like that. I'm just like, I just had this moment of clarity where I'm like, wait a minute. If they can do it, I can do it. That means the system works. That means that I just have to make it work. That means, okay, I'm going to make this work or die trying. And that was the first time in my life I ever had that mentality about anything. And that was the first time I found real success. In the online sphere. And so that's really how I got my start. And the second I had that aha moment, I immediately had my first $500 sale. then my first $5,000 month, $10,000 month, $20,000 month, $50,000 month, $100,000 month. And it stemmed from that, you know, it really stemmed from that. And that's really kind of how I got my start.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I
Yeah.
like, kinda how you framed it is that it sounds a lot like what Alex Ramosi said on a piece of content that I saw him produce recently, where he talked about the idea that, like, in life, things basically will take longer than you expect them to take, but they'll happen faster than you can imagine. If you're listening to this show, it probably means one thing. You're focused on building a successful online business. Well, here's the truth. No matter how good your offers or systems are, they only work if you have a steady flow of quality leads coming in. And one of the most powerful ways that I've discovered to create that flow is through a podcast. That's why I created the Podcasting for Leads Masterclass. In this free masterclass, I break down how to design a podcast that consistently generates high quality leads for your business by building relationships with the right guests, which gives you access to their network, their list, and their audience, all while positioning you as the go-to authority in your niche. So, if you want to create a predictable lead flow, attract dream clients on repeat, and build the kind of authority that fuels your long-term growth, then check out the Podcasting for Leads Masterclass. The link is in the description down below. Now, let's get back to the conversation. And based on the story that you just shared, that's kind of the depiction that I'm getting from that. So, yeah,
Yeah, I was an overnight success, 10 years in the making.
right. I love it. I think that there's this thing to be said about like the skill sets that are needed to be acquired in order to get to that point, right? And so, I'm curious to know, like, based on your experience, what do you think some of those skill sets are that people should really focus on developing if they are either in the process of trying to get into entrepreneurship or are years into it but still aren't having that level of success yet?
I I think that you need to understand that success loves speed, and I think that you need to develop um, quick decision making. You need to develop logical thinking. You need to develop um, courage. I see people and they're just scared and they don't understand. You know, I would educate. I would really focus the skill sets, honestly, being positive. Um, you know, giving people the benefit of the doubt, um, abundance, you know, because the game is 98% mental. What do you want me to tell you? Like, I want you to build your skill set in copywriting. Bullshit. Like, am I allowed to curse on this podcast?
Yeah, by all means.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't really curse, but that just came out. But what do you want me to tell you? Like, get a skill in copywriting? Nonsense. Like AI. What do you want me to tell you? Learn how to build funnels? AI. What do you want me to tell you? Make offers? Learn how to make AI. Um, it's all AI. You know, the only thing that right now, and it's very much in the process of being taken over by AI, is like traffic. You know, and there is a lot of AI tools that can help you with traffic, but I mean, like, and it's like 90 something percent there for paid. In other words, like all those type of things that you need, like business wise, that's all AI. But AI is not going to build you consistency, discipline. The discipline is a real skill you need. Like, you really want to develop a skill, develop discipline, right? Because the people who win are the ones who just consistently do the actions that are needed every day. The actions, it's no secret. Like, it's not hard. Like, what do you want to do? Build a 7-figure coaching business? It's not hard. Have a great offer, put in a great funnel, send some traffic to it, have a salesman close it. Like, it's not that complicated. It's really not. Right. Um, it's the discipline to like go out there and do the things needed. Like, I put content out there even when I was in a hospital bed, when I fractured my leg. I'm in a hospital from an accident, and I'm still posting content from the hospital bed. You know, um, as a matter of fact, I was posting content. I was taking a selfie when I was when I was on the floor writhing in pain because it was just like reminding me of this like interesting content piece I could do. But I'm not saying you have to be that way. I'm just saying that, look, it's real. I mean, look, I understand that I've been doing it a long time, but it's like it's an elegant, beautiful thing. You have a funnel on a machine. This is what we build people, by the way, because people don't listen. They're busy. They don't have time. Whatever. So we just build this funnel for them. They you fill it on the front end with traffic, and on the back end, a salesperson closes it. It's an elegant, elegant process. It's a if you get it right, it's one of the most beautiful things in the world. Like I said, I come from 9 generations of business. It is one of the most sexiest business. A micro webinar funnel is the one of the most sexiest things I've seen in my entire life. Now think about it. I'm not talking like you know this, man. You've been on the block.
100%.
I'm talking about you hire a Google Ads guy, which I help people. The Google Ads guy is sending traffic to your funnel that you just recorded like a video like this on your phone, right? People like it. They book a call. A salesperson that you're only paying when they make you money closes a $10,000-$20,000 deal, and you're sitting playing Mortal Kombat, right? And I'm being funny, but like you're sitting doing whatever, and you get. I had this web, and you had this $20,000 or $10,000 notification or whatever, $5,000. And that's not me being like cheesy internet marketing. It's very real. Now, I had this webinar where I have all these slides of like me at my allergy office and getting like, I have a notification, big notification, me playing Candy Crush and getting a big notification, me, um, having lunch with a friend, and like me living life. Now, takes, you have to have the stars align. The offer has to be right. The funnel has to be right. The traffic has to be right. The stars do have to align. Don't get me wrong there. You just flip something on. It's not like that, but it can get to a point where it's pretty nice. It has for me, and you understand something, bro. We're talking small numbers. I mean, go right now to Google, to AI, go to ChatGPT, say how much money has webinars made. Go, any of y'all can go look it up right now. I just checked the other day. Guess what it told me? And maybe I don't know if you can do it right now while you're with me, John, but it told me 100 billion. So
Nice.
webinars made over $100 billion. It's not. We're talking a lot of numbers. I'm talking about making a couple of
Mhm.
million here. Which is we've made millions online. I mean that's a lot. I mean webinars have made over 100 billion. So I'm saying I think if you hate what you do, I think you're really robbing yourself if you don't have a webinar funnel. I really do. I think that if you have a God-given gift and you can help people become healthier, wealthier, and better relationships, happier. I think in my opinion, in the history of the internet, the absolute best way to do that is through a micro webinar funnel. That has been my experience, and that is what I highly recommend to people.
That's awesome. So help me break down. You said this is your offer, right? Currently, as you're going through and you're helping people with that and establish it. Is that correct?
Step one, you're going to sit with me, and your offer is probably kind of crap or generic or not that great. We're going to, in one phone call, make it the best offer you've ever had. We're going to, for our VIP guys, we bring them to Dallas. We have the cameraman, proper camera, lighting, sound. It's like a studio production. We film your micro webinar, do a photo shoot with you. You record a podcast with me, giving you instant credibility and giving you a lot of authority. We take those assets, we build you a webinar funnel. We give you a commission only salesperson, and then my team and I work with you daily to make sure you're getting clients. But I just got off the phone. We just got off the phone with this guy, and uh he wants $50,000 uh for not to franchise his very, very small restaurant, but to get the license for his restaurant, meaning you can use his name. And I says, wow, it's 50,000 just to use his name. And by the way, it's not a big name, but you get to use his systems, like their recipes on how they make their burgers and this and that. And uh, you know, that's nice. Um, but there's no you have to risk a lot for that. In order to open a restaurant, you're gonna have to. And the numbers they're saying, maybe you can make 10,000 a month, but guess what? You have to outlay 150,000. You have a restaurant staff, rent that's probably 5 to 9,000 a month, something like that. Um, and so, that's what I'm saying when I'm talking about business and different business models. I got to tell you, this is when you do it right. There's a lot of people doing it wrong, man. They're working 60, 80 hours. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I used to be freaking homeless. Okay. Living in an electrical closet with no windows, no hot shower, no hot water. I never worked anything over 40 my entire life. As a matter of fact, 40 is a stretch. I don't think I've ever really worked 40. I mean, like I might be working from like 9 to 5, but, oh, I'm talking to my mom, I'm going out for a lunch, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I don't and I'm not saying that to be like, I'm just saying that people, if we're working 68 hours, you guys just don't know what the hell you're doing. Like, you don't know how to leverage. I'm telling you this out of love. Like, you just don't know how to leverage like resources. You don't know how to leverage people. You're just doing it wrong. Like, straight up, I'm just telling you. Um, and so that I think this is the best model out there for entrepreneurs who wanna make more to give more.
Yeah. I love that motto that you have there. I think it's very, it kinda helps align people with the proper North Star, if that makes sense. How did you kinda come across that?
Make more, give more, is what? Make more, give more. Someone in accounting is like, "Akbar, man, you, man, we're impressed. You really give a lot." And I was like, "Oh, man, like, you guys messed up my numbers, man. Like, I don't really give that much. I only give, like, 10%." I was like, they're like, "No, we see it's about 10%." I said, "10%? What's the big deal?" They said, "Dude, like, people don't do that." And I'm like, "They don't?" And when she said that, I was like, it really took the air out of me. Like, it like I got punched in the gut because I was like, "Oh, damn, people don't know the power of giving then. Oh, crap." So it's like I was like, "Alright, man, I guess I gotta go spread the word and let people know the power of giving." Like, they just don't know, shockingly. And so then that's really where it was born.
Hmm, that's interesting. So what have been, some of your more, I guess, noteworthy, like, giving stories, in terms of either, how it's changed somebody's life or
Yeah.
anything that impacted you, personally?
Well, it's interesting, make more, give more is really about, making more of yourself to give more of yourself, honestly speaking. Whether it's your time, your money, your energy, that's really what it's about. And we have done all of it. Somebody was lonely today. I have a very busy day today. There's someone lonely and they said, "Can we have breakfast with you?" And I said, "Sure." And they were kind of, and that was giving. Busy, busy morning for me. And honestly, kind of messed me up a little. That, that was probably irresponsible of me. But anyway, that was giving. Uh, Tomorrow, I'm consulting with a non for profit free. That's giving. Using my God given talent to Uh, we do money. We've built a lot of water wells, sponsored a lot of orphans, given the gift of vision to a lot of blind people. And so you give with your time, your energy, or your resources. And I mean, the more you give, the more you get. This is just the reality of it.
100%. I think this principle was first brought onto the podcast, around episode 8. It was Joe McCall. He talked about the power of, like, tithing 10%, and I like the additional frame that you've thrown on it about not only, like, tithing from a monetary standpoint, but with your time as well and your expertise and God-given gift. That's,
Because
that's
honestly,
something that
yeah, I mean, the easiest thing, for some like me, like I don't really care about money. Russell Brunson went on film and said that he's never met anyone who cares less about money than me, and he's probably right. Um, it's not hard for me to write a check. I don't care. I I was happy when I was homeless, like, I really don't care. Um, but so, like, for me, that's not really, like, my test, right? My test would probably be my not my time either because I'm very giving with my time. I'm not very protective of my time. So that's not really my test either because, like I just showed you, I just went out for, like, I had a very busy day, but I went out for breakfast. I think my test is probably my energy that, hey, are you actually going out and you're helping people with your hands? And I can do more of it, like I'm doing tomorrow. Um, and I'm consulting that nonprofit, and I did message my cousin who's in the non-for-profit world. I messaged him yesterday. I said, "Hey, man, I want to consult more people." And so, like, have I done that? Yeah, I have. Have I done like a spectacular job at like making sure I did a lot of it? No. That's what I need to improve on.
it's very interesting. I'm kind of picking up what you're putting down here a little bit, and I find it fascinating, this idea of like a test, right? And can you speak on, um, I guess more or less the lens through which you're looking at things when you say a test?
Well, I mean, I mean, I believe, right? I'm not preaching. I believe, and I believe that most major religions believe that we're on this earth as a test. And if we, I mean, to me, it's pretty black and white. If we fail, we don't go to a nice place, and if we do well, we go to a good place. Um, that's my understanding of it, anyway. Um, and so part of the test is like, hey, you've been given this God-given gift. Like, what are you doing with it? Like, are you doing anything with it, or are you just keeping it to yourself, or like? And I'm not saying you're gonna go to hell, like, if you're not helping people, like, that's not I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that, like, let's make it a little simpler. Your body is a gift, it was given to you. Are you maintaining it? It's kinda like someone just it's kinda like, someone just bought you like, you just got your license and your dad just, spent all his money and got you, like, this really nice car. Well, out of respect, you're gonna take care of that thing. You're gonna make sure it doesn't get any scratches. You're gonna make sure you can do the right oil changes. You're gonna make sure that you're not being reckless with it. And our bodies, like I think about that. Like, dude, I would love to just and actually no, see, that's the thing. Actually, we're going down a very interesting path because you know what I was about to say? Like, I try not to like have like, I can sit here and eat a whole pie of pizza right now. I try not to do that. But now this is where the beauty comes in. Now, this is the hierarchy of intentions. The truth is, and I'm kind of not doing well in this category, I'm mostly not eating that box of pizza because I don't wanna look fat and feel fat. But the best intention is I'm not doing that because that's irresponsible, that's gluttony, and for the love of God, God doesn't love gluttony, and for the love of God, I'm not doing that. Um, that's the highest, best intention you can have, and I do have that intention with some things, and some things you improve on. This is the life. This is the constant, um introspection, constant evaluation, okay, reevaluating your intentions and trying to improve. And I have a lot of areas to improve, but that's what it is. That's this life.
Yeah, I think you touched on something there. Is it alright with you if we go a little more on the, like,
Hey, man, let's roll.
God side of
Let's
things?
roll. Let's
Awesome.
roll. Let's roll.
Yeah, I find it fascinating that you mention, gluttony because that makes me think of, like, the 7 deadly sins,
Yeah.
and I know that personally, I had my literal, like, come to Jesus moment, and when I had that, it touched a lot on, like, understanding the impact of, like, the 7 deadly sins in your life as temptations, but then when you break that out and you look at the opposing characteristics on the opposite side of a spectrum, you end up seeing, what would be, like, the embodiment of, like, hypothetically Jesus or something of that nature, right? And so, like, the point here being that you can kinda see patterns in life, like you're talking about the temptation of, like, eating a pizza for, the gluttony showing up, but then, like, the opposite of that would be, like, abstaining from that, if you will. What are what do you think are, like, kind of some of the, best things to, like, know your own battle, if you will?
Well, I think it's just evaluating your day to day life, right? I mean, like for me, yeah. See, I'm glad we're talking about it. I mean, it's not stuff you think about all the time, right? But I mean, like, eh, I think that's the beautiful thing. It's just your daily actions, right? Like by nature, I'm a bit of a I don't want to say slob, but I'm a bit of a like by nature, if I'm eating like a sandwich and I have a sandwich bag left, I don't like and if no one's around, I'll crumple it and just throw it on the street. Like as long as it's not hurting anybody, like it's just general pollution, general littering. You know what I mean? Like by nature, I don't mind doing that at all. But I don't do it because I know that's littering, and I know cleanliness is next to godliness. Um, that's the thing. Religion really, or the love of God, really turned me into a totally different. By nature, I'm really rough around the edges. I don't mind, I don't mind smoking a pack of cigarettes or throwing trash on the street or just like being a little. I don't know what the word is, uncivilized, really, I suppose. But and again, but that's like kind of the test. I was kind of born that way, where I'm like, I don't mind jaywalking and doing stuff like that, but I don't do a lot of these things because, um for my love for God now, and so I think and there are people born the opposite. They're born good at two shoes. They're not gonna do anything like that. So their test is different. I think everyone has different tests, and I think it's very obvious to everyone what their own test is. I mean, I'll give you another example. Like if you want to talk like real talk,
Yeah,
um, like dude, like just being like, how do I word this? But it's like, we go to like I don't drink, right? And you go to these conferences and you go to these talks and like the last talk I went to, we closed $200,000 in contracts. The last talk I went to before that, we closed another $200,000 in contracts. Um, and people want to celebrate and have a drink, and it's easy to get caught up in that. You know what I mean? Because the energy's there. You guys just like kick butt. You worked really hard. Everyone's partying. Everyone's having a good time. And it's like, it's a test. Um, Luckily I've passed it. Uh, but you you don't want to put yourself in these kind of a positions. So like now I won't go to like the after party. Like I'm just not going to go put myself in that position. You know what I mean? I think that's a big one. I think you're a product of your environment. I think you want to set yourself up for success.
100%. And I very much so personally like vibe with what you were just saying a moment ago about the test of, like, even the little things, like, just simply, like, "Will you have this drink after you close this deal?" It's like, I know that was one of my, like, earliest entrepreneurial battles was, like, walking away from alcohol to make room for more, like, really, I guess the answer is servitude, if you will, right? Like, having the capacity to be present to be able to help, right? And so, I'm curious to know, like, from your perspective, um that was an example of a test that I had, like, early on, like, how can you speak to the volume of how those tests either compound or change during the entrepreneurial journey as you get to higher heights, if you will?
Well, you got to look at intentions. You got to look at, there's so much in business. A business can be such a blessing or such a curse. Are your ads correct? I just filmed ads, and there were some script parts of the scripts that just were not true, and they wrote it, and the team wrote it without even knowing. I didn't. I had to correct that. Are your ads authentic? Are they real? Is everything in your funnel real? Are the testimonies real? Is what you're saying real? Is what your salespeople promising, is it real? Or when they buy, are you fulfilling on what you told them that you're gonna fulfill? It's a lot, dude. It's a lot of responsibility, you know, to have a business, and because it's a lot of moving pieces. Are you treating your team members properly? Are you paying them on time? Are you, um, being fair to them? There's a lot of tests in business, man. And that's why, because if you pass, it's a lot of blessings. But there's also the other side of that, and we try. We try. It's especially challenging for someone like me who's not like a big planner. Very last minute. Let's throw a webinar tomorrow. And it's like there's a lot of moving pieces you kind of just throw together, and you get excited, and um, so again, it's a constant evaluation and fine tuning, and hopefully, that's a good measurement of where you are spiritually. And if you find yourself being like, oh well, oh I don't know, it's okay, don't worry about it. You might be getting your heart might be getting a little rusty. You might have to go give it a little tune up. Um, People go through ups and downs. They go through ups and downs of like, they go through stages where they don't care at all. They go through stages where they care too much. And so I think the key is balance. You know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, speaking to that, what do you see as, like, some of the most common pitfalls, of entrepreneurs who are really just, like, nose to the grindstone going for it, and they're sacrificing areas, say, like, for example, like, their marriage, or they're sacrificing time with the kids, or they're all those things, like, how do they kind of find that balance, if you will?
Interesting question, isn't it, man? I mean, you take a look at someone like Alex Hormozy, right? Alex Hormozy, somebody who has no balance. And it's a fascinating question. You know, he just made 100 million in one day. Let's just say he took home 30, let's just say, 20, 30. Um, then begs the question. Let's just say he took 10 of that million and saved a million lives, giving them clean water or something. Is it appropriate? Um, well, God says to have a balanced life. God says your spouse has a right over you, your husband or wife, your children have a right over you, your neighbors have a right over you, your parents have a right over you, your siblings have a right over you. And so community is important. And so this is what it is. And we answered the question through what God says, and God says to be balanced. Now, it's funny, so I make on average probably, I don't know, 25 to $50,000 anytime I do an event. And um and I'm talking about like a speaking gig. I'm not talking about like throwing my own event, by the way. My dad's 70th birthday is happening, okay? And we're spending like a week in Utah. And during that week there's a speaking opportunity. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, should I do it? Because we're going there basically Wednesday night to Monday night. And the speaking thing is a 1 day thing. So I would get there instead of getting there Wednesday night, I would get there Friday night. And I'm thinking like, should I go? Should I not go? Should I go? But I have to like, and I don't know how to make that decision. I'm literally gonna have to. I talked to my mom about it. I talked to my wife, but I'm gonna have to talk to my brother, and my dad about it. Um, because the truth of the matter is like, but the thing is like, I'm not one of those guys who are like, oh, I missed my kids this and I missed my kids that to build my business. Never, never. Just. Well, I shouldn't say never. I to show you how rare it is. I did. I have gotten a very big influx of speaking engagements recently. Um, and everybody was shocked that my 3-year-old had a soccer game, his first ever soccer. Everybody was shocked that I missed it. But that's what it is. They were shocked because I don't miss things. It's for me, it's always God first, family second, business third. And so I've never had a balancing issue. Really. I think one time I remember my wife caught me in the closet on my phone where I think at my peak of my business, I was like working a lot for a minute for like it was like a week or two that I was just like it was like one of our best 2 weeks in the history of my business. But other than that, no, I went out for breakfast with my wife and somebody today. We generally go for coffee. I'm pretty much wrapping up my day here. If I have this podcast interview, then I have 2 back-to-back calls and I'm done. Um, I'll be done at 5 like I pretty much am most of the time. If not before, actually. I usually go to the gym as well. So I think balance is essential in everything. The middle path is generally the spiritual path.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So I want to dive one layer deeper into that. And it's like, I agree with you on everything you just said. And honestly, I think we share a lot of similar viewpoints of kind of how we're navigating and viewing the world through the lens of like seeing kind of the different tests that come, at bigger and smaller levels of just like actions in life. But really, like, I guess part of the insights that I'm interested in getting from your perspective is like, do you feel like there's an easy way to kind of, I guess easy is the wrong word. Do you think it's possible to determine the direction God is trying to navigate you in your day to day? And if so, how would you go about kind of sharing that insight with people?
I think that's the beauty of it, like, because I used to have a crippling anxiety disorder. You know what the cure is really for a crippling anxiety disorder, generally speaking?
What's
It's
that?
actually because I had top therapists from Yale University. I was on medication. I was on therapy, this, that, this. None of it worked. You know what worked is truly understanding this. God loves you. 80 times more than your mother. When I first heard that, I was like, whoa, my mom loves me a lot and lets me get away with anything. And God loves me 80 times more than that. Okay. That plus the fact that every single thing that happens to you happens for your betterment. Even if you break your leg or whatever, maybe you broke your leg and that kept you in the hospital, but if you drove home that night, you would have died in a car accident. So everything that happens to you happens for the best. So anxiety is what? Anxiety is what? Anxiety is worrying about the future. But if you truly understand that God loves you and everything that happens to you in the future is for your best, then automatically, instantaneously, you're no longer worried. And that's what happened to me. Like it just when I had that moment of clarity, gone, medication gone, therapy gone, never came back again. Obviously, once in a blue, you get anxious. Once in a blue, I get anxious for a second, but it never turns into a panic attack. It never turns into anything. Um, but yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that. So, let's see. I feel like I've been called a lot during this to talk about God and things, and I think we've done a great job of kind of bringing that to the
well, you do
forefront
the
during
Two
this.
Comma Club podcast. The Two Comma Club podcast is Russell's people. Russell's people are generally spiritual people because Russell's a spiritual guy, he's a religious guy, and that's what it is. So you probably notice a lot of commonalities with the people you interview. They are your godless people and ClickFunnels, but they're rare.
Yeah, very rare for sure. I think it's fair to say that pretty much every time we've been able to talk about it, sometimes more than others, but like at the end of the day, yeah, like minds get attracted to each other, so that's awesome.
Mhm.
Um, so we're getting close to wrapping up 2025 here. What are some of the goals that you're looking to be able to accomplish by the time the year is over?
Man, I got a lot of go. I just hired a new offer coach for my clients. I just hired a new operations guy. We want to go big, man. Look, our idea is this. Here's our idea. You have a God given talent. You can help people become happier, healthier, wealthier, better relationships. You can. There's a lot of people suffering who are not happy, healthy, wealthy, and good relationships. They're hurting. I look at you. I say you're a healer. Let me help you find these people who are hurting so you can heal them. And so that's the movement we're making. Let me help you make more of yourself to give more of yourself to the people who need you. And so that's the movement, man. We want to help people launch these mentoring businesses or grow their mentoring businesses so they can heal, so they can help. We want to make it big. We want to have books, events, swag, supplements, the whole nine yards. That's what we're gearing up for. And for 2026, we want to be very, very primed for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's some pretty cool ambitions. Have you ever tackled, I'm not sure, have you ever tackled the obstacle that is writing a book before?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, honestly, if you have a course, you can just transcribe it with AI and have kind of an editor go through it and fix it up. I think that's one of the best ways because the transcription of the course is your voice. It's you, 100% you. And what's interesting is that it's not written, it's spoken, meaning that when you speak differently than you write. And so I think a book comes out very palatable when it's written as you speak. And this is literally written as I speak because it's a direct transcription of me speaking. So I find that to be the easiest and best way to write a book. And I have a lot of respect for people who just take a paper and a pen or whatever, or a typewriter
Much,
or a
much.
laptop. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot more challenging, but I have a lot of respect for people who do that. I would love to be one of those people, but I think now with just like technology, I just don't see myself doing it.
yeah. And it's interesting too. So I guess like one of the final questions I'd love to hear from you is kind of your viewpoint. It sounds like you've done a lot of deep thinking around what the future brings in terms of like AI technology, et cetera. Like what are some of the things that you think people should be I guess, for lack of better words, optimistic about, and then also bracing themselves against, if that makes sense.
Well, and I'm tech illiterate. That's the funny part. Look, I think that, I mean, brace yourself. I think AI has the possibility to kill everyone. I mean, I really do. I mean, I don't think that's an outlandish statement by any stretch of the imagination. I think a lot of those movies you saw, science fiction about AI killing people, Terminator, this, I think that's very, very realistic stuff. Um, I don't care. I don't think anyone should worry about it. I don't think you should be bothering yourself with that. I, I mean, is that a crazy thought?
I mean, based on the movies and everything, exactly like you say, I think that seed has been planted in people's minds in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, you don't wanna live like that, you don't wanna live in fear. It doesn't I have no idea. I don't think about it. But as far as the positive, um, I mean, the positives are all there. The positives are all there. Um, it's just making things faster, more efficient for businesses, saving costs, higher quality, more consistent. It's a wonderful thing. I mean, AI in the sense that for the first time in history, typically you can get something cheap and quick, but it's not good. Or you can get something good and high quality, but it's not going to be cheap. You can only always get two of these three things. For the first time ever, AI, you can get something high quality, fast, and cheap. This is the first time in history you can make, in my opinion, and so that's and it's growing at a scary pace. So I think it's a very exciting time to be alive. I wonder what my kids' life is. I don't. I mean, my life is totally different than my parents' life. My parents didn't have laptops and stuff and computers and stuff, and my life is totally different than their life, and in some ways. And I think my kids' life is going to be totally different than my life in some ways. So it's going to be very fascinating and fun to see. I just pray that it stays peaceful. That's all.
100%, 100%. Yeah, it'll definitely, be interesting to see how these next, even 5 years play out with the rise of it and everything,
Yeah.
impacting all industries and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, it's kinda cool. It's like, almost like the gold rush, but more modern day type stuff. Anyway, uh, so if anybody is interested and wants to start making more and giving more, like, where can they get involved in, what you have going on?
I have a very interesting masterclass on my website at justmyname.com, akbarsheikh.com, that kind of just shows you in a very raw and authentic way what what you can really do, what kind of impact you can really make. And so I encourage people to watch that. That's a very fascinating masterclass. That's unusually, uh, I think, raw for this industry. So I would recommend looking at that, and that would be the main thing. As far as social media goes, I'm mostly active on Facebook.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this has been a great episode. The final question that I like to round off is, we live in a unique day and age where we have the ability to capture a moment in time and kind of share it for future generations to come. What would be a great piece of advice that you would love to leave essentially for humanity, if you will?
That's funny. When I used to do a podcast, that was pretty much my last question too. I think it's a great question,
Nice.
and I think. Listen, I think the power. My biggest secret. I'm tech illiterate. I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not a KPI guy. I'm not a good manager. Um, I'm not a good team person. My biggest secret is giving. The key to living is giving. The more you give, the more you're going to get, the more happy you're going to be. I know a lot of millionaires who are miserable. You want to be rich and happy, give. That's my biggest and best advice I can give.
I appreciate that. That's really sound advice. And obviously, you're a testament to that. And as are all the students that you've been able to help work with. And it's fantastic. So thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it and enjoyed this conversation. And hope to stay connected.
Likewise, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. It's been a lot of fun.